meet the hero we need. Oh, I'm not only serious, I'm right. That's Jason Rutledge. He's been fighting his entire life to promote restorative forestry, and his most powerful weapon is his trusty steed. Well, he has several, but you get the point. This is his story. Jason, and many more like him, are leading a resistance that has the potential to not only save this country, but could possibly save the planet. Yes, a real uprising. You don't see it? Look again. If you can't see it, you may not understand the problem we face as Earthlings. Stick with me, it will become clear. The best hero stories seem to have a sense of destiny, and that's true here as well. In the late 60s, Jason was in the Navy and was stationed in England. One weekend he had some time off and he went for a motorcycle ride in the English countryside. He got lost and he was turning around in a small village when something caught his eye. A small boy walking along a narrow street leading an enormous red draft horse.
I said, I would like to see your horse. I've never seen a horse like that. And so I go over and I look, and there stands this horse. It's completely solid red.
The horse was a Suffolk Punch, unique among draft horses and one of the rarest animals on Earth, and a key character in this story. However, darker times were on the horizon. Hey, a quick favor if you have one. If you like stories of adventure, innovation, and inspiration, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to fight my way to 1,000 subscribers, and I can't do it without you. In fact, I don't even want to do it without you. Thanks. Not long after Jason's military service was over, he found himself in some hot water with the law. He was arrested for having weed, and the prosecution wanted to make an example out of this young man. He was to be sentenced to 40 years. Obviously, that wasn't how he wanted to spend his life, so he fled. He went to live in the wilderness, way out in the woods of Appalachia. Jason was living in a cabin. He needed a power source, so he turned to mankind's most reliable ally and partner for thousands of years, the horse. But, and this is critical, he didn't just use the horse for his own purposes. Cautiously, he started approaching landowners in hopes of managing their forested land. He became a logger, a horse logger. You see, many landowners knew the value of protecting their forested land, but still wanted to have some profit from the timber. Jason, using long-established methods while developing his own techniques, understood that harvesting an entire forest was foolish and irresponsible. His plan was to only harvest trees that were past their growing potential and showing signs of decline. Only those trees would be taken. This method, which Jason calls worst first, allows a forest to thrive while providing wood to serve the community. As the old declining tree is removed, the canopy of the forest opens up. The sun punches through and smaller trees suddenly accelerate their own growth. Jason refers to this as tree gardening. And compared to mechanized logging, which destroys not only an entire forest but also the topsoil, nearby water sources, and wildlife habitats, Jason could work in a forest and leave it healthier than when he entered. Happy landowners, happy forest, healthy community. But Johnny Law was still looking for this hardened criminal. Eventually, this outlaw was rearrested, but the old judge had died and a new judge now had Jason's life in his hands. Justice was coming. Jason's lawyer handed the judge this copy of Mother Earth News. Jason was the featured cover story. The judge was informed of what Jason had been up to, and he asked Jason to stand. He said, "Mr. Rutledge, is this you on the cover of this magazine?" Jason replied, "Yes, sir." The judge looked at the cover again and gathered his thoughts. Finally, he said something like, "I want to extend the apologies of this court. It seems you have been out there providing a valuable service to your community. You are free to go and continue doing your good work in the forest." Phew, that was close. We almost lost a really good man. Like all heroes, a trusted sidekick is critical. Jason is about to get the perfect partner, one with 4 legs, a powerful sense of right and wrong, and as strong as he was actually stronger than an ox. The word destiny was meant for this exact occasion. Shortly after purchasing this farm in the Appalachian Mountains of Virginia, in the early 1970s, I believe, Jason got a call from a neighbor who needed help rounding up horses that had escaped. The man said Jason could have 2 of the horses for his efforts. He chose 2 big red draft horses. Sound familiar? Not long after that, Jason's mom gives him a coffee table book of horses for Christmas. In that book is a horse that instantly reminds him of the encounter with the young British lad who was walking that mesmerizing Suffolk Punch draft horse. And there's an address for the horse's owner in the book. Jason writes the man, and sometime later he gets a reply. The owner of the horse confirms that that is indeed the horse Jason had seen over a decade ago. But there's more. He continues with Mr. Rutledge. I am also a member of the American Suffolk Punch Registry, and you may not be aware, but your horse, Wynyard's Crocus, is the daughter of the very horse in the photo you inquired about. Jason, it seems, was meant to have that horse. For the next 40 years, an offspring of that first encounter has graced Jason's Virginia farm.
This is Int, the direct female line from the first Suffolk I ever saw. The Ints are the talking, walking trees in Lord of the Rings that saved humanity. They actually broke a dam on a big lake that flooded the zombies that were about to kill the last humans alive. They had them all corralled in a canyon. They were about to kill them all. And here came the big, huge, walking, talking trees and ruptured the dam and flooded the zombies and saved humanity. This is the Int.
Now, I promised you a rebellion and a worthy hero. Do you see it? Consider this. Farmers all over the world are suffering, and many farms are lost to bankruptcy every day. Farming and similar endeavors used to be a reliable way to make a living. It was tough work, but reliable. One of the challenges all people face, especially farmers, is debt. Debt forces farmers to buy more, to make more, to sell more. It's a cruel hamster wheel of more and more that leads to much less, with virtually no security and disaster being a missed payment or a failed crop away. So when someone decides to work with horses and not buy a $250,000 tractor, combine, etc., this is a profound act of rebellion in this modern tech-driven world.
Jason has devoted his life to passing on this tradition, and not for the sake of being traditional, for the sake of going into the future as the best way to do it. That's the difference. People don't seem to understand. We're not throwing it back to the past. Let's use the best technology of the past to go into the future. I don't use the horses because of the traditional aspect of it, because my grandparents did it. I use them because they're the best. They're the most superior technique we've got to not damage the woods. And that's all. I mean, if they were something else, I'd switch to something else, but I don't know of anything. I mean, what can you do that you can tie the lines up and voice command and send them out of the woods? You know, there's no machine that's got a remote control. I don't see any time soon that the horses will be replaced with any type of machinery that will do a better job. No, they're not as fast, but when you add up all the positive ecological benefits that the horses have, it's not even a comparison. You know, and the woods, you can't tell we've even been here. Depending on the harvest, you know, within 2 weeks, sometimes you can't see where we've even been other than the stumps and the tops. Within 2 years, there's no sign at all.
Hey, horses run on clean, renewable energy, self-repair, they even replicate. That's a terrible system for corporations and banks. I understand you may have an instant fear of the well-being of these majestic animals, but I'll let Jason explain.
If these horses weren't given this opportunity to prove their usefulness, they would just be food items for humans to eat them, or dog food. So the fact that these horses are given a chance to prove that they're a superior way of doing things gives them a place in the future. It gives them a place as a part of this family and a place in the economy of this community, and it gives them a useful place in life.
Jason teaches others to treat horses properly, with respect, and to understand the nature of man's greatest partner.
Obviously, it's a big learning curve for me and for them.
Contact, command, and release.
Step up.
Control them from the first step. There you go. Gather and split again. Get that perfect tension. Try to keep this at the right angle. Forearms parallel. There you go. You can let out line and get your elbows perfect, just like you want it. When everything is going perfect, that's when you stop. Usually, when everything's going perfect, we all want to keep going. That's the opposite thinking for the horses, because they need to be rewarded for their proper behavior. And the best reward is cessation of demand. Good. Rest them again.
The man that Jason is working with there had always wanted to work with horses on his farm. He sold his heavy equipment, spent years revitalizing his land and soil to undo the damage of chemical agriculture. He learned how to drive the horses from Jason and says he's happier than ever. He feels engaged with his land, his work, and his new partners.
I'm excited for the farm to open up to them.
Good.
Several years ago, the state of Virginia decided it needed to ensure that those who were being paid to manage people's land should be verified. They should know what they're doing for the good of the landowners and the remarkable Appalachian forest. Jason was eager to comply, so he went to the proper state office to take a test so he could have his name added to the approved list. He sat down with a young man to fill out a form. The official began with, "What's your name, sir?" "Jason Rutledge." The man looked up and said, "From Floyd County." Jason didn't know this person, so he was a bit confused. "That's right." The young man smiled and said, "You're the reason this office exists. Let me go put your name on the list right now." I've told many incredible stories of remarkable heroes on this channel. Some were forced to rise to the moment against all odds to miraculously defeat death. Some inspired us with seemingly impossible feats of athleticism, tenacity, or courage in the face of powerful adversaries. Jason Rutledge and those like him belong in the same category with any and all of those for a lifetime of dedication to doing what is right. How easy would it have been for Jason to bring down a couple of extra trees on each assignment to make a bit more money? It must have been tempting to go the route of the commercialized industrial logging, but he didn't. He stayed true to his beliefs. He stayed in the woods, observing and learning, doing what was right in hopes of restoring our forested land. He ignored the critics who said his methods were too slow. Over the years, Jason has joined many debate panels and he's heard every criticism you can imagine. One of the most common is that he's stuck in the past.
A USDA expert said that it was fine that I was doing that, but that it was an anachronism. And I didn't know exactly what that meant for a while. And so I looked it up. It was somebody that was out of time with the present. And it came to me almost as an epiphany one day sitting in the woods that he was right. I was out of time with the present, and it was because I'm in the future.
The proof that he's in the future can be seen in the young people that seek him out to learn more about working with horses, to learn how to properly care for forested land. They are answering the call to be the next generation of those who do the right thing. What I'm saying, and what I believe Jason's revolution is about, is to be more thoughtful in how we spend our money. Be aware of where that money goes. Who profits? Does the money stay in your community, or does most of it go to some corporate headquarters in another state? And if we all ever get serious and conscientious about where we spend our money, that will be a good revolution. That will be the revolution we need. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, please check out the full award-winning documentary of Somehow Hopeful, The Story of a Woodsman. You can find it on Prime, Apple TV, Tubi, YouTube. Thank you. McNutt out.